to experience yet. Still, how far you're liking India?
Oh, I love India. I love the people, the hospitality, and the food's amazing. I know I haven't tried all of them yet and the dishes, but it's wonderful to be here. And tomorrow we're going to Guntur. So we're on a tour to inspire as many young people of India as possible in a very short time.
That's my hometown.
Beautiful. Awesome.
So good to have you here. You know what? After sitting and right now starting off, I truly believe inspired even without starting off the interview. That's the aura you're carrying around.
Thank you.
So, Nick, you give a lot of speeches. You inspire a lot of people. But how do you perceive life?
For me, it's definitely understanding that the first decision we must make is to have an attitude of gratitude, to be thankful for what you have instead of being angry for what you don't have. And then also in the understanding of life, sometimes you may not understand a lot of the unexpected seasons of life. I think the last several years, I think we've all gone through ups and downs and depression and anxiety and so many other emotions in us. And really, we are human beings with human feelings.
Yes.
And so when we go through struggles, it's for me making sure that my heart and my mind are connected, that I'm present, that I'm gonna do my best. But if I'm not feeling good today, you know, I'll give myself a little bit of permission to maybe retract or you know, internalize some things. But eventually you have to come back to life and engage in the world and see that whatever we see isn't a limit. It's just a process of becoming resilient as we face resistance.
Well, wonderfully said. But coming to the point where you started your life, it was not an easy path at all. Every step must have been very tough. So what was that crucial turning point of yours that turned you into this amazing human being?
It was definitely a journey that started with my mom and dad planting seeds of love, saying, you're beautiful, don't worry about what the future looks like, just do your best. In fact, in 1989, I was supposed to be segregated into a special needs school. But my mom went to the education ministry and actually opened up the integration for children like myself. And so I had a lot of opportunities to, you know, progress, and I'm so glad to see the progression here with the government of India and the education system here and the awareness of people with special needs. And for me, it was realizing, yeah, I had no arms and legs, but it was difficult when I thought it was a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal from my perspective, but from everyone else's perspective, it seemed like a big deal, and that I wasn't normal, or maybe I wasn't good enough. And these things of thoughts, fears, and emotions stirred through me as a young kid, and
Yes.
definitely felt lesser of a person. Definitely felt that maybe I should be doubting my future. Maybe I'm never going to be happy. Maybe I'm never going to find true love and really find my place in this world. And so it was definitely a journey, a long journey. But really, even with the attempted suicide at age 10,
Yes.
it was a moment in my life where I just wanted to give up because I couldn't see any good. I just want everyone to know that, yes, when life is hard, it doesn't mean that this is the end. If you choose to stay, beautiful things can come from your broken pieces when you give your broken pieces a chance. And so I actually played soccer at age 13 and hurt my foot so bad that I was in bed for 3 weeks, and I realized I have a choice, either to be angry for what I don't have or be thankful for what I do have. And that's when the undergirding foundation of the attitude of gratitude really came in my heart and my mind at age 13. And so that was the stepping stone, getting out of depression, being thankful and focusing on those good things, talking to people with my feelings, and also realizing that there are other people in the world who have it worse. And how can I actually make the world a better place? It's amazing what happens in the mind when you actually help someone else in need. It really is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So, do you believe in the power of manifestation? Because I see you as a practical example. So, how far do you believe?
Yeah, look, we all have different philosophies and belief systems, but when it's a belief, if it's true, then it must work for every single person. And so I think of the people who are human trafficked, who've been sold by their own mother for at 4 years old. You can't tell them, just manifest your new future. Be good, do good, and good's going to happen. I think bad happens to us all.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you this, that if you don't muster up any motivation or inspiration, then where you are in our circumstance and not believing beyond what you see and feel, actually will limit you. And I've actually seen now rescued human trafficked teenagers who actually find an escape, and they find a job, and they save up money to go and rescue another human trafficked victim. And so what's amazing is when you don't get a miracle, you can still be a miracle for somebody else. And I think in the mindset of progressing and moving onward, and yes, whatever you sow is what you reap. I believe in that, right? But it doesn't change all the destiny and the full potential of your life as a formula, if you will, for me.
Of course, with manifestation, action towards it really needed.
Action more than belief, right? You can believe all you want, but with no action, you'll never get there, right?
Yes, true. But, as human beings, when we are in new circumstances, or even we think of new phase of anything, to do anything new in the life or to go to any place, the first thing which we feel is fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yes.
What if something goes wrong? So, how do you see fear?
For me, I love the acronym. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one before, but there's, first of all, two categories of fear. There's a rational fear or irrational fear.
Yeah.
Rational fear is when my parents saw me and they looked at me, no arms, no legs, and they had fear, like, is he gonna walk? Maybe he's not gonna go to school. What if this, is he ever gonna get married? What is he gonna do? How independent is he gonna be? That fear is rational. It is good to ask those questions. For me, when I was a kid, I had a lot of irrational fear, where I would take on my life and through my filter in my mind, based on what I see, based on what I know, based on what I feel, I conclude my future by saying, I will never be married, I will never be happy, I will never find a job. And so sometimes we actually condemn our own future based on what we see. We then just limit ourselves and our future. And so FEAR, false evidence appearing real. There's so many times that we go through life that we really are afraid of something. And I'm not belittling anyone's fear, and I'm not belittling anyone's pain. But what we must understand is, do not be crippled with fear to hold you back from trying, from failing. Today's message in front of the youth there at MRU is so great, Malareddy University, is incredible that they understand that failure is not a status or a conclusion or a label. Failure is your classroom. And so you don't know what you can achieve until you try it. And many of us know that we're not perfect.
Right.
So when you understand that failure is your classroom, you get stronger and stronger and wiser along the way. And so that's the kind of mindset that I want everyone to know in the resilient mind that we can do.
Well, may I ask you this? What was your failure process that you always have a memory of, and that taught you a lot about life?
Whoa. I would have to say, I think in business and entrepreneurship, there were many times where I would have a gut feeling about somebody or something, and I didn't listen to it. And I relearned that lesson again and again. And I think in business, our emotions get in the way of things.
Yes.
And you know, I love people, and I care for people, but sometimes because of that over love and care, I don't make the right decisions that I should be making at times. And so, now does that mean I don't care for people? No, I always will care. But knowing me, I'm now more wise. I get more counsel. I double check with someone. What do you think about this? I get more of that wisdom counsel around me. And so there are some things in my control that I failed. There are some things out of my control that I failed in. But you know, especially in the entrepreneurial world, you get used to failing.
Yes.
You understand that money comes, money goes, money comes back, money goes again, money comes back. It's the tides of the ocean. But you must seize the moment and trust your gut. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, I did a lot of things before I was married, but now being married to my wife, I want my wife's, if you will, blessing or approval on something if I want to do new, you know. She may not always understand it. She might be a little bit more scared than I. But what I've also learned in marriage is do everything together.
Yes.
I really believe that that's a good foundation for a strong marriage, especially when you're an aggressive entrepreneur like myself.
Oh, you sound like an obedient husband.
You can ask my wife that. You're making me blush, but you know, we do what we can when you know I'm even busy to make sure that we even give our friendship a chance. You know, outside of 4 children. And even now going through the process of starting paperwork to even adopt a child in America, and starting the paperwork. Life never slows down. You know,
Yes.
many people say, oh, when it slows down, it doesn't slow down. It only gets faster. And so the priority and time management of such is, you know, if my family and my marriage is priority number 1, then I make sure that reflects on my calendar. And I still take my wife out on a date every single week that I can. And so, was it so crazy busy the last 6 months? Yeah, it's been crazy. Did I get the weekly date? No, I didn't get that. Did we have times of escaping? Yeah, we did. It was beautiful. But as quickly as you can, with the seasons and ebb and flows of the world, do what you can to fight for your marriage, fight for your wife's adoration, fight for that time with her.
Oh, I think you should train people how to be right husband also.
Thank you. Thank you.
So coming to the gut feeling, yes, as an entrepreneur, yes, it is definitely different. But when it comes to love, romance,
Yeah.
relationships, you know, our gut says something, but we always try to entertain what's in front of us. So how do you see these current generation relationships? Because they're on, next minute they're off.
Yeah, well, it depends how old you are and, you know, what kind of family you were raised in. And I've seen some great arranged marriages be very successful. And so I'm not here to judge, but I'll say it this way. You know, you must be aware of what you're feeling and making sure that what you're feeling is reciprocated. And they don't love you for who you're going to be or how you're going to change or what you can give them. They love you for you.
Yes.
And I think a ground of friendship is something very important to know. What do they think of themselves and what do they think of you? But understanding the philosophies of what is identity, what is purpose, why are we here, what's your dream of dreams, getting to know each other. And so, sure, you know, many times people ask me, was it love at first sight with my wife? And it actually was. It was for her and it was for me. But that doesn't mean like, you know, we're getting married now next week.
Yeah.
But we got to know each other and 12 months of friendship. And then I popped the question. She said yes. And 6 months later, we got engaged. And so, you know, love is complicated.
Yes.
Not one story can help another so much because every story is unique.
Correct. So complicated.
It is.
So, coming to this, you have seen a lot of younger to older kind of generations, and you have seen closely how the people think. Different people from different perspectives, they have different ideas about life. But yet, everybody is like, one, fear is common, and second, emotions. because we tend to get to take decisions even in the fear or in the emotion of love. So what exactly the points we should consider when we are taking major decisions in life?
Definitely get some wise counsel around you,
You know, everybody can't afford you kind of a counselor,
like a
right?
coach. What I'm saying is find someone that, I mean, it depends what decision you have to make, right?
Yeah.
In that field, right? Because sometimes you can't afford not to make the right decision,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And so, for me, if it comes from a point of depression, for instance, I always encourage people to write out 10 things that they're thankful for, the 10 things that are going well. The second thing is talk to a psychologist. I actually have been talking to my psychologist in 2021
Okay.
to actually say, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling. And it's amazing because that process, when you become transparent with another human being who's not going to judge you for what's been happening, who can even empathize or sympathize with you with the difficulty that you got going, to emotionally heal. Sometimes you have to tell someone what you're actually going through. Sometimes your emotions are coming out,
Yes.
but not even because of the present situation. What I realized, even when the restrictions of COVID were coming out and my business went to zero, it was interesting that my emotions and my psychology and my mental health state had nothing to do with my business going to zero. I've been
Oh.
there before, but what was interesting was it unearthed some emotions of the last 20 years of my life.
Okay.
And things that, you know, I never really told people, or they knew, but I never really talked to someone about, let's say, approximately 9 people who made me feel betrayed over the last 20 years. And so we're complicated human beings in that we don't even know what emotions we're feeling sometimes, or what is it that's stirring this up. And so that whole process of healing, saying what happened, then they asked me, how did that make you feel? And I shared how that was for me. And they said, do you want to share anything else? And I said, no. And what was beautiful was, after hours about one topic, I realized for the first time, I actually don't have a wound anymore. I have a battle scar. And so I
Yes.
think some of our past sometimes scar us. What
Right.
our parents have said to us in the past, a previous rejection in the past, or a betrayal, whatever that is. I really encourage people to talk to another human being who's trained in that for your psychological mental health, and to never give up. You know, some of us watching right now are thinking of maybe giving up, and I want everyone to know to never ever give up. You don't have to go through this life alone, and you're loved, you're valued. There's not another you, and so please don't give up. And if a man without arms and legs can become somebody that now embraces the world with, you know, no limbs, you know, I feel that we all can embrace and discover our greater purpose and love in life.
This is exactly true, but all human beings, as you said, are complicated and go through a lot of hidden scars, which they don't even, in fact, themselves doesn't know what is what is the suffering that they're going through. But having said that, there are a lot of traumas, and we grow up with that kind of things. So what do you see? Because we all get betrayed at some point of life, we all get heartbroken, we all get our trust broken. So you said one thing like, do good, be good, everything will go good. No, that doesn't happen that way. So once you're betrayed, or your trust is broken, or your heart is broken, how should you see? Because it takes hell of a time to come out of it, and it affects every aspect of our damn life.
You know, I really encourage people to even journal. Just journal what you're feeling, and write down, what did you learn about you?
Right.
What did you learn more about you than anything?
Yes.
And learning it in a way to allow yourself if you could do anything differently, what it would be, and also to take from what has happened in the past and be aware of that for yourself, but also when you don't get a miracle, you can also be a miracle for someone else. And I think we all go through brokenness and we all go through rejection, and if we all can go through our whatever that disability is for you, but never give up and get on the other side of it. What if you actually went through what you've been through just to help one other person?
Oh.
And so for me, you know, meeting now, I don't know, 35 people with no arms and no legs around the world, and seeing my mum and my dad encourage parents of other children with no limbs, you know, it's not the end of it. You learn, you pick up, you keep going. And when you don't feel like that you have anything to be thankful for, I had to do something interesting in my mind.